What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Picks and Roll DFS. Yesterday, we had ourselves a clean sweep, going 3-0 and adding to what's been a really strong run these last few weeks. Tonight, we've only got one game, Dream versus Sun, but I've dug into the data and found the 4 best plays available. Let's lock in. Apologize for the voice. I do have a bit of a cold, so if it sounds a little off, that's why. But as always, we're here giving you the best plays for the day. If you appreciate what we're doing here, hit that like button, drop a comment, and of course, subscribe so you never miss a daily video. Bankroll tip of the day. Before we start, bankroll discipline is everything. On small slates like tonight, the books really tighten the lines. You've got to decide. Take the safer, high probability lines, or swing at the volatile plays for a bigger payout. The disciplined Betr picks their spots instead of forcing action. That's how you build a roll long term. So our first pick for today is going to be Allisha Gray going higher than 3.5 rebounds. Now, being that this is the last game of the season, or one of the last games of the season, we can look at the last 20, the year overall, and then a head-to-head. As we can see, she has been a stat sheet stuffer this season. Going over this line 17 out of 20 games for an 85% rate, averaging 5 and a median of 5 in those last 20 games. Additionally, over the year, she's cashed this at an even higher rate of 34 out of 41 games overall for an 83% rate. Again, with an average and median around 5, which are well above the lines. So this line movement from 4 to 3.5 actually really benefits us in this situation. Now, keep in mind, being that it's the last game of the season and Connecticut are not in the playoffs, it is possible that they do limit Allisha Gray's minutes some, but we'll see. It all depends on the coach's philosophy in terms of gearing up for the playoffs or giving them a little bit of rest before the playoffs. But they do start like really fast, so they may just keep them playing for the sake of consistency. Now, when it comes to the Connecticut's defense against guards and rebounds, they are 10th, which is favorable for us, guards averaging 12.9 or nearly 13 rebounds per game against the Sun. Additionally, we can see that Allisha Gray has exceeded 3.5 rebounds in 6 of her last 7 games on the road. If we also look at this list of comparable guards who have played against Connecticut, including Allisha Gray's more recent game on the 8th of September, we can see, and on the 1st, we can see that all of these guards have cashed their lines, making this one of the most solid plays we have for today. And quickly, although I'm giving you my favorite plays, don't just blindly tell these plays. If you watch these videos, you can see that I'm always recommending do your own research and especially using Outlier, which is perfect for that. Hit rates, line movement, matchup splits, all in one place. That's how you get sharp. Let's go to pick number 2, which is going to be Marina Mabry going higher than 3.5 assists. Now, her role as a secondary playmaker has been consistent. As we can see, again, we're going to be looking at that last 20, the season and head-to-head. She's cashed this line of 3.5 assists at a 55% rate, going above 11 of her last 20, with an average of 4. On the year overall, she's also cashed this rate at the 56% rate, going above this line 19 out of 34 games. Keep in mind, she also was limited in her games, which is why it's 31 instead of 41 with an injury. There's also been some issues throughout the season with like a trade request and all of those things, but she's still delivered while she's been on the Sun. We can also see that this line has been consistently moving up and down. It started at 3.5 assists, and now, it started at 3.5 assists, went all the way up to 4.5, and I believe it is now back down to 3.5. Yeah, and we can see that it's largely favored on FanDuel at minus 156 and on Underdog at minus 186. Then, our last piece of data in terms of matchups, we can see, or hit rates, we can see that she's cashed this line 6 out of 8 times, including games from last year, which leaves us at a 75% rate. Cause for concern a bit would be the average, which is at 3.88, but the median, again, is still at 4. As always, play these with caution. Major concern, as it's been the entire season, is Atlanta's defense. They are number 1 in assist defense in terms of guards or assists allowed to guards, with only 12 per game, which is first. And then we can see that there's been some inconsistency in whether or not other guards have cashed their lines or not. However, just 2 days ago when they played, she did cash her line of 3.5, going over with 5. And the odds were at 200. Today they are at minus 186 for Underdog and minus 156 for FanDuel. Also, making this a solid line. Now, if you are tailing along, make sure you're also taking advantage of the promos. Right now, Betr is giving out a free $10 just for signing up, plus a 50% deposit match up to $200. And don't forget the Jaden Daniels promo. He literally just needs half a yard to cash. Next up, we have Sanaya Rivers going higher than 9.5 points. Last Connecticut game that we played, we did take some unders, especially like Anisha Morrow, and that game was a blowout. What happened was that a lot of the reserve players got more opportunities to play. Sanaya Rivers, being a rookie, this is a highly probable game for her to get more playing time, which increases her likelihood of scoring more than 9.5 points. And even the major sports books like FanDuel agree, because they have her line at minus 184. We can see in the last 20, she's only cashed this line 40%, 8 out of 20 games. And on the year, she's only cashed this line 39%, 16 out of 41 games. And head to head, we can see she's done a decent job cashing this line 50% of the time, going 2 of 4. Again, only having data from this year. But the one thing that we want to keep in mind are the minutes. While we do see some consistent minutes here, I expect to see a lot more. And as we can see, the last game was a blowout. She played 29 minutes and she scored, 16 points. Now here, this is the beginning of the season and she's a rookie. She's learning the game and we see growth as the season continues, which is what we want and which is why I believe that this will be a solid play for Sanaya Rivers against Atlanta. And by the way, if you're tired of just playing these free picks, check out my winnable VIP. That's where you'll find the best plus EV props across multiple sports sent right to your phone every single day. Free picks are fun, but VIP is where you really stack your roll. Our last play for today is going to be Tina Charles going higher than 14.5 points. Now, Charles has been automatic from home, as we can see in the insights for today. She has exceeded 9.5 in 15 straight games at home. We are taking that line at minus 114, and we can see FanDuel believes that this is highly probable as they have this line at minus 128. And we can see Novig, Hard Rock Bet also agree at minus 137 and minus 140. Now she's cashed this line of 14.5, 14 out of her last 20 games for a 70% rate. On the year overall, she's cashed this line 27 out of 42 games for a 64% rate. And head to head, she's gone 50% on this line. Within those games, averaging 16 and a median of 15.5. As we've been saying, with this only being the one game for tonight, Atlanta's defense is one of the best, and unfortunately for points allowed for forwards, they are ranked third, which is not favorable. Keep in mind there could be a lot of variance in tonight's game, as I mentioned, in terms of playing time on both sides. Maybe they limit the amount of time that the Stars play for Atlanta, which increases Tina Charles' opportunities to score. Maybe she plays less and they allow the rookies to play more like they did with Anisha Morrow last game. So again, play today's cards with option or with caution. But again, I have played this line several times this season, and she's cashed this line a lot. I like Tina Charles over 14.5 points. So these are my plays for tonight's matchup of the Dream versus the Sun. Alicia Gray going higher than 3.5 rebounds. Marina Mabry going higher than 3.5 assists. Sanaya Rivers going higher than 9.5 points. And Tina Charles going higher than 14.5 points. Stay disciplined, do your own research, and as always, let's keep building that row. Good luck tonight, and see you tomorrow with more plays.